Hi, I'm Dorothy White with Channel 6, and we're so happy to be here today. And we have Miss Debbie Abels with us. And most folks know her from Simply Put. And I know she was one of the first folks that I ever met that came in, and she had the greatest sales pitch I had ever heard. And here we are still going, and I believe we have a 10th anniversary.
Yes, 10 years.
10-year anniversary. And anyone who has a small business of their own, a local business, you know how difficult it is and what a challenge it has got to have been for Debbie to keep this business going for 10 years. And that's quite an accomplishment. You should be very proud of that.
Well, Dorothy, y'all at the Chamber were great help for us too. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Is ways that not only Simply Put, but Channel 6 and networking with other people in businesses that relate to yours can form kind of a networking, a Pied Piper kind of syndrome to get the word out, and it not just be advertising or being on Facebook, that type of thing. Some different ways that maybe you hadn't considered that would help you in promoting your business, product, or service.
I think the thing is, things are growing so fast and things are changing so quickly.
Yes.
We were just talking about that. I know all the different medias and all the different things that are out there, but you know, I'm kind of partial to picking up a book or a piece of paper. I know the people at the library know me, my first name, because I'm in there so much. Because to me, having something in front of me, having something to share.
Yes.
Oh, did you see this? Did you know about the bounce house? Did you know that Medica has a coupon in the book this week? And all those things that brings that to your attention. And I think the Simply Put newspaper certainly covers that. And what's some other things that you've looked to try to do with that?
Well, I've got to tell you, one of the things that we learned early on was that we had to stay current. And that, as you say, things are changing all the time. And whether you're in the newspaper business or in the television business or the chamber business or whatever,
or any business,
you really have to stay ahead of the curve. Always kind of, I kind of try to hang with a lot of younger people than me because they are a little bit more cutting edge with all the technology and everything that's out there right now.
They do. If I have a question, I ask my grandkids.
We'll see. I get on the phone and I call Paul, who's up in Louisville, and he's 30, and he's even getting a little bit, out of this mainstream. I'm going to have to go a little younger.
Yeah.
But we've always tried to provide more than what was expected.
Right.
And that's the customer service kind of thing, paying it forward and setting yourself apart from any other competition you might have. And that's what we have done. We've offered additional services. When you advertise with us, you're not only getting print media, but we took it upon ourselves to offer to Facebook your ads for free during your run. Oh,
wow. Okay.
And it's not just your ad being up, it is a piece of information related about your business that compels me to read and then see your ad.
Right.
You can't just put up an ad and go, we've got these widgets for sale today, unless you're giving them, away. You need to give them something else. We found that out, honestly, by doing the Fair Guide. We were asked to produce the Fair Guide for a couple of years and really just got so big and so successful, I couldn't do it, and the paper too. GBA, our printing partner, handles it now.
And they're a local company here that have been here for many, many years. And I know this, when you started going through them, it made such a difference in the clear cut. You can always count on them for good service. And we have such great folks right here in Bardstown and in Nelson County. And now you're even grown into Washington, Marion, and Bullitt counties. And I know Channel 6 as well is just spreading their wings and covering more area all the time.
Well, and speaking of GBA, they invested, here's a prime example of them having to step forward. They invested in 3 brand new digital print presses that they could have used what they had. But when they did that, it allowed me to go to a smaller size font, which is the size of lettering that you use. I used to not be able to put people's photographs in. They would not come out clear, or houses or anything like that would pixelate too much. And now I can put anything in there I want to, and I'm down to an 8 font where I used to be 12 was my cutoff, and it'd still be legible. And so they did me a favor because we were 12 pages being printed before, and I can put the same amount of content in a 8-pager that I did in 12, which saves me money.
Saves paper.
And it keeps me from having to go up on my ad rates.
Right.
So it's, again, that networking and partnering, what they can do to help you if you ask, and just see what you can connect to. They've been great, you're right.
They are. I know I've dealt with them for a lot of years, and I know the quality of the product is what makes the difference. And yes, there are other folks out there that you can go to,
right.
But as we know, and I love the way you've got the paper that people love.
Yeah.
When you're in the doctor's office, tell us some of the different businesses that you drop these at in these areas so that folks kind of know where to look for that.
Well, we are in 4 counties. We started out with just 40 locations in Nelson County 10 years ago. We're over 200, not counting our newspaper boxes, and we have 12 newspaper boxes in strategic parts of main streets of each one of these counties. But we really are everywhere. We're in any place where you're going to be waiting for a while. If it's a restaurant, you're waiting for your meal. If it is the doctor's office, if it's like an immediate med center, if it's a laundromat, if it is, Hearst Drugs. I mean, we're everywhere. And really, everybody says, Debbie, why do you have it in such that flaming yellow? And I'll tell you, we tried different colors, and we tried, like at Easter, we do multiple colors, and at Bourbon Festival, we do brown. And I will tell you that my pickup, if I change the color off of this to white or any other color, my pickup is half of what it normally is, because this color is so vibrant. They see it as soon as they walk into a restaurant or into a place of business, and they gravitate to it because they like it, and it helps them be able to see it and take it home with them. And they share it. Our coverage is much larger than what we actually have listed. We go as far as Campbellsville and Danville and Perryville, on up to Brooks Road, all the way to Radcliffe and E-Town, and we have Spencer County, Taylorsville readers. And yet we've just got this core area, but they're sharing it. They're either taking it to somebody else, or they're picking it up and bringing it home. Well,
I think the color also it's just synonymous with Simply Put. I think when you started putting in this color and folks were seeing it, you immediately know. In fact, when I first walk in, it's the first thing I kind of look for, because usually there is a supply of those available. And after 10 years, you get real comfortable with that, and you think, well, I'm going to be here for 15 or 20 minutes. I think I'm just going to, breeze through here and see what's going on. And some of the things we had talked about too is in a print. This is something that I can do. Oh, this is something I want to see next Thursday. This is something I want to do, 2 weeks from now. This is, get that on the calendar so that you know about it. And I think that's just one of the ways that it really helps folks too.
Well, it does. And surprisingly, we have a tracking device in our paper, which I always recommend if you're doing any kind of media, advertising or promotion or marketing, that you align yourself with some sort of tracking so that you can see what works and what doesn't, and spend your money wisely.
Sure.
We have it in here strictly to be able to show me a growth pattern. We were headed towards E-Town, and honestly, we were getting so much pickup from Mount Washington up that direction. We shifted plans and added more locations in that direction. And that's also how I know they were picked up in that we have readers in Campbellsville, Danville, Perryville, because we have a tracking device in there where we give a $25 gift card or something away every week. And with that, you tell us your favorite part of the paper and you give us your information, and one of those is the city that you live in. And that has helped me, but it's a way for them to earn the possibility of a gift card. And so we probably get 60 to 70 returns a week on that. We even have people who bet on where they think that the hidden lips are.
Oh, you're still doing the hidden lips?
Yes.
Okay, because that used to be a fun thing that we always did in the office, and all the girls would try to, see if they could be the first one to locate it. But I think that's one thing that makes this personal. Because
Good.
I know that's something that in the community, they relate that to you, you relate it back to the newspaper, and it goes all over. And it's
Right.
that word of mouth spreading that makes the biggest
Right.
difference. And I know if I'm looking for something particular, this is going to give me some different information that I
It
might
does.
see on Facebook, or that I might just, and so many folks now, when they're looking at something like that, they're pretty much just scrolling through.
That's right.
And they're just kind of, it's just becoming a blur.
It is.
And I think that it's useful in a lot of the different things that we do, but also it's certainly not going to replace anything that is of substance that they can pick up and take home with them,
Right.
or something that they can share, where
Well,
they're at. So I think that makes a difference too.
And they do tell us their favorite part, and I always think there's, maybe I should change the column to something else. But honestly, our ads are our third most favorite thing that are read, because they say it lets them know about new businesses that are coming in and reminds them of places they maybe haven't been in a while, or where to take a friend or, out of town guest, or,
Sure.
various things. And as you said, the happening section, we try to be sure that we are printing out things that are over 2 weeks out, so that you can get it on your calendar, or you and I can sit there at lunch and say, hey, I want to go, you want to go,
Right.
let's
Right.
go together.
Make your plan.
And make your plan. Instead, where Facebook and Instagram and all that, well, it's not called Instagram for nothing, it's instant information.
It's instant. You better
Yeah.
be there in 10 minutes.
And that's it. It's like right now, as
Yeah.
opposed to really planning your life out a little bit. It's still, we're all addicted, and we're all addicted to our phones. I don't care who you are.
I know.
You are.
It's true. It is
And
very true.
it's kind of nice we're seeing a drop off on that a little bit, that people are, sitting together and actually having a meal instead of,
Yeah.
clicking the whole time. Or if they are, they're showing you a picture of their dog or their
Of
kid
their dog,
or
or
whatever.
usually their kids or grandkids, but the baby pictures or whatever. But I think that's another thing too, is a lot of the young people that I talk to use different kinds of media, and they pretty much use everything.
Everything.
And so much of what we do is shared in a lot of different mediums. I don't think you can concentrate on just one and rely on that and think that that's going to get you where you need to be.
No, you have to diversify, just like you have to diversify
Right.
your product or
Right.
your service. You need to do the same with your marketing and advertising. We like to say that we're really not an advertising piece. We are a marketing piece. We try to brand your name and your product and your location in somebody's head for the long term, and not just, we have these widgets to sell today. We're probably not the best source for that. If so, I'm going to guide you to a one-time hit and a full page, and be sure that we get it out enough time that people can actually make plans to come and see you.
And we actually have done that in the
Yes.
past. I know when we had a big event coming up
Yes.
or anything, what we would do is go in with a full page ad,
Right.
and you would add it like right in the center or someplace where everybody was going to see it. And we try to do it out like at least a month ahead.
Exactly.
But as it got closer, then you'd kind of hone in on it, and this is coming up, don't forget about that.
That's right.
And I think that's the biggest difference. And I think the other thing that I have really noticed in this piece is all these local businesses, there's so much going on right here in Nelson County
There is.
and in our surrounding areas, that some of those things might get missed. If you're
Right.
scrolling through and looking at 5 million things, it's kind of hard to, just hone in on that one particular
It
thing you're
is.
looking for.
It is.
And so I think that's a good concentration. I see you still have some different cooking and
Yes.
recipes in there, and just a little bit of everything. When you ask people what is their favorite, can you tell me what that
Yep,
favorite
I will tell you.
is?
I'll tell you the
Okay.
top 5. It's really funny.
Okay.
The ads, like I say, came in 3. You will not believe what is number 1, and that is Kaya's Corner, the dog. I am the medium for my dog, and she tells me about her life.
innermost
And I
thoughts.
put those down, and by
Okay.
gosh, if that's not number 1.
Oh my
Along with
gosh.
the pet tips that are supplied to us by Cedar Heights Animal Clinic, and which is, we call that the second to doggy spa. She goes and gets petted and groomed and all of that, and they double
Right.
check her. But that's number 1. Number 2 is our recipes. And then from there, honestly, they love to hear about anybody who is doing something interesting or a new business
Right.
that's growing. or has come in, and we do a who section on that. It could be someone who has contributed a lot of things to the community that people aren't aware of, and we always like to give a shout out. We're a positive, motivational paper. We believe in your thinking that you're extremely lucky to be here in the United States and in Bardstown, Kentucky.
Right.
Bourbon capital of the world.
Right.
And I myself, my husband and I had the opportunity when we moved here, we sold a business not long after we moved here. And we had the opportunity to move back to Louisville or to another city without any difficulty. And I'll tell you, we stayed because of the friendliness and the hospitality and the feeling that there were people here who genuinely cared about us, that were not family members. And we try to continually express that, and especially with this, kind of negative vibe that's out there. That's just such a small percentage of people.
It truly is, and I think in general, people are good,
Yes.
and people want good things to happen, and in order to do that, you have to come across positive, and I know that's something when people ask me, I say, well, my mother gave me the greatest gift. She put a smile on my face, and she made me a happy person. And when we woke up in the morning, we were happy. There was always something to be happy about.
That's right.
And there are lots of other things going on in the world, but you have to choose each day what's going to make you happy and how you're going to, best deal with it that day. And I know that we've certainly, probably both been through a lot of difficulties through our life, and I know for me anyway, the best way to deal with that is to just go into it head on and just talk about it and get it out there until it feels good.
Yes.
And pretty soon that that comes back to you. And I know with the young people, a lot of times when I sit down and talk with them, they are just blown away, and they just say, well, you just seem so happy. And it's like, well,
it's a choice.
It's a choice that I made when I got up this morning. And you go to work every day, you love your job, you love what you do, and that's the biggest thing that I tell them. We did a lot of scholarships just within the last few weeks, and we have grown that program so much since we've been in it, and that's only through the wonderful generosity in our own community. People that have donated through the foundation for many, many years, and they just stick by us, and when we have the opportunity to give back to the students and to other organizations that might need our help, we do that as well. So I think that's what makes the biggest difference, Debbie, is just how you look at it and how you move forward.
Being grateful, and then, as we say,
grateful,
paying it back too. If something good has happened to you, it's like you said about smiling. It just is an automatic thing with you and I. But I don't know whether you find it. I don't know. I can't explain it when people say that. But I know that I have so many people that'll smile back, and I'm not even realizing I'm smiling. I know. And then I've noticed them. And then they'll make a comment or something. I hope you have a good day. That's the kind of town we live in, the kind of region really that we live in, and we need to keep that in the front of our mind and let all this other stuff just kind of filter away. It exists, yes, and we all are acting on it the best way we know how. But at the same time, you can't let it just devour you. And if you do, you just might as well crawl in a hole and just give it up.
Well, you said you did a lot of investigating.
I have.
For us. You've kind of done some tracking and found out what goes where and who's doing what. So why don't you let us know a little bit about
Well, one of the things that we thought we would try is a social network experiment. To see, okay, is it print media, is it television, is it Facebook? What is capturing your eye? And then let's do a little field work ourselves and experiment with it. If you don't mind, I'm going to read you a few stats.
Sure.
Just because they are not mine, they are actually proven. If you're trying to hit somebody between 18 and 49 with your product or your service.
That's a pretty good
and it's mostly
window
females,
there.
Not necessarily on the male side of things. 75% of that generation, they spend 20 minutes or more a day on Facebook. Now that's a fair amount of time. It may not be all at one spot. It may be a couple of times added together during the day. But 20 minutes of anybody's time in a daytime is pretty good.
That's to have a captured audience.
Yes.
That's excellent.
So Facebook still remains, even though a lot of the younger generation, from probably about 20 down, they're going, oh, has been.
That's my mom and dad. That's my mom and dad that do that.
But if you're looking at 18 to 49, we like to say that our newspaper is valued by 28 to dead. So we really don't venture into marketing to younger than that. We've tried, it's a waste of our time. It's not going to make you any money or business. So we really know our demographic. 1.9 billion visit Facebook monthly.
Oh my gosh.
That's huge.
Billion.
Yeah. YouTube, okay, we're talking about television. We're right here on Channel 6.
Right.
And local TV is really, really good for your small businesses to get their messages out.
Right.
Gary has advertised with me. I have advertised with Gary. Other media advertises with me. I have advertised with them. Diversification, again, even for our types of business,
is the key.
With that, if you are a male between 18 and 49, opposite Facebook, because that's more female driven, YouTube is the way to go. If you've got a body shop, you need to videotape yourself no more than 2 minutes. You need to videotape yourself doing something that's related to the body work you do, or the flooring that you install, or the painting that you do. You need to physically do it and have it filmed, and then place it on a YouTube, place it on a Facebook if you want to, and let them be able to go to that. And look, it goes to credibility. It goes to reminding them who you are. Be sure you've got a banner or your signage around you while you're filming this, or they're not going to know it's Liver's Body Shop or BDM's Body Shop or whatever, unless you're promoting that. But that's interesting. That's a good way, and it's if you are maybe it's a sport that you're involved in, or something funny that's a crazy short. But no matter what, be sure that your product or your name is mentioned or seen in it. And we're not talking about any ways of hurting each other or America's Funniest Videos or whatever, but something that might be, fun could be done.
Yeah.
Instagram. Instagram is the fastest growing. 600 million monthly are going on to Instagram. However, it's under 35 females. So 35-year-old, younger, if you're trying to appeal to that audience, that's the way to go. 53% of those people will follow a specific brand. So say you're Mary's, and she's keying into a piece of the jewelry that she sells, which has a brand name to it. Not her name, but a brand name to it. If she focuses on something like that, some of these things where you take the stone out and you put another color stone in.
They like that. They like that.
Kind of like, they will follow that brand, which means they will come to you or your store because they know you have that brand.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Twitter, which we've all heard enough about that, fortunately, is being an oversaturated market. It's kind of going on the wayside.
Well, I think because it is being saturated by, I don't want to say useless information, but maybe information that you don't necessarily need to hear and shouldn't hear by some folks. But and that's the biggest thing I think with any of these is not to carry it to the extreme. They told us nothing less than 30 seconds. 30 seconds is a real good amount of time, but you don't want to go too long, because if you go too long, like you said, 2 minutes, I think that's probably long enough. Your attention span just changes after that. I even notice with myself that is, like, if I'm looking at something and if they haven't told me within the first 30 to 60 seconds, I'm done. I'm done. I just, it's like, well, then tell me what it is, and you don't, okay?
That's right.
But if you can sell them or promote whatever it is that you're trying to say in that first 30 seconds, it makes a huge difference.
It does.
Because then you do want to follow it further.
That's right. Just always, if they want more information, just be sure, if you think that you're the person that's reading or seeing, because we're that way with ads, little bit of text, get your message out. Don't write everything in the rainbow that you do, but your phone number and your address and the name of your store need to be the large thing, because our goal is to send them to your door so that you can close the sale.
Right.
We're not there to sell your product. We're there to get you in the door, and that's the
Right.
same way that this is
Sure.
just to try to get you there. A YouTube video, if you're actually repairing something or doing something, that's a little different. They're using you as a tool to
Right.
learn how to do it themselves or to see
Usually
it's
step
more
by
work than I
step.
want,
Yeah.
and I'm going to take it there and let you do it. That kind
And
of
actually, that is really helpful. I know
Very.
a lot of things that, like you said, recipes and kind of fun things like that you look up. I think it is very interesting to see how Martha Stewart did it, or how
Right.
someone else has maybe prepared a dish, or a local person has done that. That makes all the difference, because once you've seen it done, for me, the hands-on is what makes the difference.
That's it. And you have the confidence that you can do it.
Right.
Or you'll look at it and go, well, that's just too much work. I'm not going to do it. I'll get somebody to do it for me.
Right.
And that's perfect. We've got a lot of
is.
private chefs in town and people that cater. And
We
like you
do.
say with food, if you don't want to fool with it, you can give them the recipe and say, I'd like you to do this, and then pick it up.
Well, and especially desserts. I
Very.
have found that they're very, they're not only delicious, but they're beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
really, really incredible.
Become an art form.
It has become an art form, and luckily we can get all those things locally right
That's
here.
right. That's part of why we tried the Facebook experiment. These 3 stores right here, all 3 took out year-long ads with me. And I felt compelled to, again, pay it forward. And I thought, if we're Facebooking your ads, maybe we can take it a step further. And since they were 3, and this is a networking experiment, which we highly recommend too. One is a paint store, one is a flooring store, one is a furniture store.
So very closely connected.
And that each one of them, I took each one of them and I had them go and tour each other's store. So they would see what each had. It's amazing. Not one of the 3 had been in anybody else's shop because they're working all the time.
Right.
But we did it as an after hours. They introduced themselves to each other. We did go have margaritas after that.
There's nothing. That's actually how the 501, the whole
See?
concept came up, was the business to business. People get
That's
so
it.
busy during the day that they can't take the time to go and visit other stores, and because they're too busy doing their own thing. So the 501, the business after hours,
Perfect.
was worked out really well, because it gave you an opportunity, and you just walked in the door. If you wanted to stay 15 or 20 minutes, that's fine. But if you can stay the whole hour or stay a little longer, that's good too. And sometimes people end up staying a lot longer.
Right.
Especially at the distilleries. We found that those
Exactly.
were usually some of the
Fun.
most popular fun.
Well, what we did was we placed the their ads in a row, and then we did a design tips section beside, which was
okay.
current trends and things of that nature. And interior design is my background, so I volunteered. And I said, I tell you what, why don't we set up 3 separate vignettes, design-wise, in each one of your stores? And I will give away a great gift, and it was a nice overnight accommodations for 2. If you will go to each one of the stores and look at the vignette and just put your name and telephone number and address in this little bucket, and but you had to go to all 3. If you went to all 3, you qualified, and then we had a drawing from those that did it.
Oh, I see.
And I will tell you that we promoted it. We promoted it in the paper. We promoted it on Facebook to see it, trying out our social media aspects on things. And all 3, I didn't know how it was going to turn out. It was at a lull time of the year. It was right before tax time. It was still winter. We were still having all that. Winter would never go
Oh,
away.
my gosh.
And I thought, we're going to have only, 5 people that are going to actually have done this. We were pleasantly surprised. And all 3 took me aside and said, Debbie, sign me up for it again. I want to do something. This time, I'm going to give a gift away at each store myself. And they all had done a tracking. And it had proved to be remarkably good for bringing in more traffic than they had at the same time over the years for those same dates.
Well, and folks that may be interested in, maybe they were just thinking about replacing the floor, but when they saw what you had put together,
Right.
that maybe I need a little furniture in there too, and gee, while I'm there, let's get some home improvements done.
Exactly.
And I think because they do match so well together, and then your realty store at the bottom, they can buy a new house. If they don't like, what they've got
Right.
here,
Yeah.
they can go in and change it. But I think that is how to wash a cat. I think that's the other key to yours is you put an element of fun in it, and I think everyone sees that, and people do need that. They need to laugh more. They need to have something that can just relax from it. Even if even just for 2 seconds, how to wash a cat.
Right.
If you've ever seen a cat in the bathtub, that immediately brings all kinds of things, and just some of the other things that you've done